Ready to rock?
See.
All right. See, I knew there was some Spanish in there somewhere.
Best friend Spanish.
Yeah.
Or Mexican.
Oh, sure.
Grew up in California.
Yeah. All right. Whoops. I'm just going to pop the chat out here so I can read it. Everybody's saying.
Roger. Yeah,
A little easier. There we go. Okay. Hopefully everything works here. How's everyone doing? Hopefully the volume's good. Everything looks good on my end. So that's always the fun game that you play when you're streaming without being in the same place as somebody is whose microphone is too loud.
Oh yeah. Hopefully mine isn't like
but looks okay. Guys, let us know how the volume is, how everything is. And we will get going with the stream. So what we're going to be doing, I guess I should introduce what we're doing here. By the way, this is of course Tyler, our lovely co-host. And I didn't want to do this on my own because, like, for all the giveaways, it's just like, it's like a Q&A session, and then here's the giveaway. It's like that. That's not. I didn't want to do that this time around. And yeah, I am wearing the Focal Utopia, of course. Tyler's got the Stellia because, he's a closeback kind of guy.
Think about that. I kind of am actually. I was like, I kind of do lean towards the close back.
Oh, me too. If a good close back is available, I appreciate that because it's as much as they are inferior to open backs. There is a benefit to that.
Oh, yeah.
Volume is great.
Shut
Volume is
everybody
great.
out.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, that's in so many ways. Like, I don't want to inflict my music on the rest of the world. I don't have one of those, like you see people like rolling around with like backpacks that have speakers in them because it's like they want to inflict their music on the rest of the world.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need to do that.
About 90% of the kids in my neighborhood.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
scooters.
yeah. But yeah, so what we're gonna be doing here, guys, is of course the big Focal Utopia giveaway, but we're gonna do that at the end of the stream, and I will let some whoever else entered an opportunity to come hang out and join the live stream. One thing I want to note here, and I'll say it again before we do the draw, is that this giveaway was only open to folks in either Canada or the United States, and it turns out that a lot of people from other parts of the world actually signed up as well. So what we're going to do with the giveaway and the draw is, unfortunately, if it turns out to be somebody who doesn't live in the United States or Canada, we'll just have to do the draw again, and it'll be, whoever is the first person from that region. And if you're wondering, it's not like we actually don't have any say in this. It's not like something that we can just decide to do. Like, we didn't say, let's just do North America. It's there are very good reasons why we can't have it be open internationally. There are regional restrictions that basically prevent international giveaways, especially of a certain type and of a certain scale. So we're looking into ways of improving that, like making it so we can. But at the moment, it's like it's not possible to do. So and we didn't want to just stop doing giveaways until we had that sorted out. So we'll do more giveaways, and there will be international giveaways eventually as well.
Yep.
But yeah, so I'll basically do that spiel again at the end when we do the giveaway for anybody who had missed it. In the meantime, guys, you can still sign up if you haven't signed up yet, you can still do that until we actually do the draw. A little bit about the giveaway. Of course, it's the Focal Utopia, which is it's basically my favorite dynamic driver headphone. Period. I like the Verite, but from a tonality standpoint, this is more my kind of thing. And I EQ the Verite to be kind of closer to this personally. And then of course this one is being conducted by headphones.com. I think the last one we did with where we gave away something from Focal, I think it was actually Focal that was conducting the giveaway. I think it was the Celesti. But I'm not 100% sure on that because we did a few with Focal, so I think at least one of them would have been done by Focal. But this one is actually it's us who are doing it. Outside of US and Canada, win a Cost Porta Pro. That's how we got to do it. International
Yeah.
giveaways is gonna be cost Porta Pros. That's fantastic.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
Um,
And someone asked the technicalities between the HD800 and the Utopia. Utopia, I think, is exponentially more technical. But
what's fascinating about that is I was having long conversations with Matt Economist about that. Well, not long, but like I was having some conversations with Matt Economist about that over the weekend. Not specifically to do with which one is better, but we kind of stumbled on that subject. And it's he I think he personally likes the tonal balance of the HD100S more for his kind of thing. And for me, I definitely prefer the Utopia for the tonal balance there. And but then the question is, of course, about the technicalities. And to me, at least, I can't speak for him, but to me, at least, the Utopia is the more detailed headphone, even though the HD100S has the better soundstage. And I think there's probably it kind of, at least in my mind, speaks to the difference in terms of what people perceive as detail, because we're not necessarily all picking up on the same things when we're talking about detail, right? Some people are identifying that as, you know, definition and space and stage and all that kind of stuff, in which case the HD100S is probably the one that's going to be the most, it's going to speak to you the most. But for me, like I often just think that the general perception of detail, at least for dynamic driver headphones, is a little more aligned with, you know, what I've called here microdynamics. It's kind of an older term, like a hangover term from like the SBAFR days, but like micro, yeah, it is. But the microdynamics and micro detail and like the trailing ends of tones, and like that to me is like clarity for trailing ends of tones, and the resolving nature. Like if it's able to fully resolve that and have perfect clarity for all the harmonics in a tone, that to me is more how I think of detail. But then you know the flip side there is all of that stuff about incisiveness and separation. I think definitely contributes to that perception as well, because you can hear things that you can't on lesser headphones. You can hear things more clearly on the Utopia and the HD100S, and you know, other headphones too, that you can't on lesser headphones. And I think that's why it's such a difficult thing to talk about technicalities, because people will define it in different ways. So in my mind, the answer to that question between the HD100S and the Utopia is probably it depends on how you define it. But for microdynamic clarity, as much as the HD100S is good, the Utopia is better. And punch and slam,
yeah.
right? Same. That's another
Punch and slam,
aspect,
yeah.
you know. Yeah. And the Utopia, of course, is better there.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah. But I wanted to ask you, Tyler, how you been? How you doing? Question for Tyler.
Yeah, no, it's things are pretty good. Things are you know, moving along, just kind of doing the photography stuff and all that fun
Yeah.
things, and
For
finally summer.
For
Today's gonna be beautiful.
for anybody who doesn't know, Tyler does all the photo stuff for us. So he's our photographer extraordinaire.
Try it to be.
In addition to wearing many hats, you know, that's just
Yeah.
how it goes with us. You know, we're all sort of wearing many hats and doing different things.
The joys of a small business, right?
Yeah, exactly right. It's just another thing people don't realize is like it's a very small business. Like it's a small, not small. I shouldn't say that. It's like not
Small
that
in
many
number.
people. Yeah, small, exactly. Yeah, there's really like I don't know. I think there's like
Yeah, I think,
5, 6 of. Well, it depends on, because we have like, you know, contractors as well. So
yeah.
yeah,
But yeah, it's small. It's less than 10. But
yeah, exactly.
And yeah, but no, it's been good. That's been fun. I've been like some people said, I've been getting. So I've always been into whiskey, so I've been kind of like on my personal stuff. I've been focusing in on the whiskey side of the house. As far as like just you know, taking pictures, learning new styles of photography. So
Yeah.
I've been doing that a little bit. Plus, whiskey's it's funny how similar whiskey tasting and reviews are to headphone reviews, because
There is
there's
an
so
element
much
there, yeah.
nuance. Like
Yeah.
there's not that it's like apples to apples, you know, but it's like that nuance, and there's so many people that have different takes on it's the same
Yeah.
thing, and it's all some of it's anatomy. Oh, it's funny.
I was just in the interior, and I was there. I was there because I had to, because I had to actually switch out my tires for my car, and they were in storage there. But I also if you're in the Okanagan in the interior, you're gonna go get some wine from the wineries there, and so I did, and I was there trying out some stuff, and yeah, I mean, I kept thinking of it like through the lens of like Headphone, or just like picking up nuances and reviewing certain aspects of an experience, or like thinking about like how like perceptively things are different, the way that I might in a headphone evaluation or something like that. And you're right, there's absolutely a parallel there. The crazy thing that I'm thinking as well is whenever people are doing like whiskey tasting or wine tasting, there's so much room for nuance, and nobody's descriptions are really like criticized
like
or
set.
but in headphones, like people just want to ask me like, okay, which one's better, this one or this one? It's like, well, actually there's a lot of nuance there, like it's not as simple. It's just exactly, yeah. There's so maybe one's better at one thing, one's better at another thing. There are like categorical things to pay attention to in whiskey and wine as well, right, that are true, but like there's so much room for nuance in there, just like I think there's so much room for nuance in this stuff as well. So
yeah, I agree. So yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. Oh, actually, someone asked real quick. My favorite go-to bottle under $50. There's a couple that I think are really excellent choices. My current favorite, mostly because it's just unique and in a good taste, is surprisingly the Matthew McConaughey Long Branch by Wild Turkey.
Interesting.
It's sweet, but it has a mesquite barbecue wood or mesquite wood that they stave it with, and it has this like I don't know. It reminds me of being in like a Texas barbecue, or like without like the crazy barbecue meats, but I mean it's actually a pretty good, decent sipper.
Oh man,
outside of that,
barbecue.
I know, and I'm like, I should go to the store.
9:20 in the morning, and I want a barbecue right now.
Same here. I was actually thinking about like earlier. I was like, I wonder if I can convince the wife to let me go get some steaks for lunch.
Yeah, well, I need to get a barbecue. That's probably the first step.
Fair. We'll have to, once these borders open up, we'll have to do a barbecue.
Yeah, I saw Taryn comment somewhere and I missed it. Or I saw you replying to Taryn.
I replied to him, but he was saying, he says we're adequately sized, and I said, as a business, we're huge.
Yeah. Okay. I get the jokes. I see here, Dean, thank you. If a person who wears glasses has ear canals that prevent a good fit, when IEMs are painful and don't get a good seal, are there any headphones that will allow this person to enjoy excellent bass? So I don't know if I fully understand. If a person who wears glasses has ear canals,
wear glasses
that where the glasses prevent a good fit, I'm
I'm assuming like maybe like his ear shape is what he's talking about. Maybe his ears.
Yeah, I think there's two things.
Are your ear holes lower than where your glasses sit?
He's just pointing his glasses like into his ear.
Or are you like, or do you? That's how you hook?
No. I think I might understand here. So like, if you're wearing glasses and maybe there's two things that could be going on. One is the question of ear hooks, and wearing glasses might prevent that from working. The other would be if the glasses are like pushing down on the top of your ear such that it affects the ear canal. Maybe like making it so the ear canal is like not as
compressed, maybe.
Yeah, and then that might cause some issues. That's a question that I've not actually thought about. It's like, to me, whenever somebody wears glasses and they're concerned about like getting good bass with closed back headphones and like getting a seal, because that's definitely an issue, I often recommend IEMs. But what you're pointing out here kind of illuminates potentially another problem there, in that the glasses, like, that's not necessarily a solution for everybody.
Yeah.
So when it comes to IEMs, and you want good bass, I do think that a seal is a requirement there.
Yeah.
But I would recommend certain foam tips that are like, I normally don't recommend compli tips because they're not. I actually think they negatively impact the technical performance, but like, they are very comfortable and they're very like kind of memory foamish. Like you put them into a shape and then they, or not memory foam, but you know what I mean? Like you squish them up, put them in, and then they kind of expand to your ear. Yeah. And they can form, and they're very comfortable. So I would recommend trying out IEMs with compli tips. you know,
Yeah, Amplifier really. I
yeah.
had the same thing with
Even
bass.
though they're not my go-to, like but that style I think will help. Or and also like I think it's probably worth like finding IEMs that have narrow spouts. Like I don't know if this video is actually going to make it public, but I was out vlogging. Ugh, I just felt ill saying that word. I was out hiking with a GoPro and doing an IEM comparison. I was telling Tyler earlier that like unfortunately I got the footage on afterwards and like the whole GoPro's like tilted sides like I'm just on an angle. And like the other thing was like I was walking uphill and I forgot to adjust the thing, so it's just like ground the whole. So it's not the best video. So I don't know if I'll turn that into anything. I'll try, but
There
anyways.
could be an excellent joke in that, by the way. Like you could like I don't know if you saw the thing with Josh Valor, the shit.
I love that.
comments.
I thought that was great.
So like I just thought about like you're talking about like walking. You should do one where you're talking about like a shit product, SCHIT by the way. And you're walking in the woods like that, and be like, oh this, and then like you step in bear shit or
Yeah. There, yeah. Well, but then I see. I don't know if I would do that. Like, there's a limit to what I'll do for content, and that's probably where that limit is.
You don't have to show it, but like maybe just pretend, like be like, oh, damn it.
Yeah, I did. There was a fun joke that I did about I found some ants crawling on me, and I said one of them's probably Android.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's always good for that one.
So yeah, maybe that'll see the light of day at some point. But yeah, in that comparison, in that video, I was comparing some of the IEMs, and one of them was the soft ears RSV. And the big issue with the RSV is that the spout or nozzle thing is so thick. Like,
oh, that's the worst.
I got pretty big ear canals. It's not an indicator of anything. I go to the beach and flex my ear canals. But you know,
ladies.
Yeah, exactly. But the nozzle on that thing is so massive that it's like it puts the blessing. Well, I don't know. The blessing 2 is also like a pretty big one, but I didn't have any issues with that one. But with whatever reason, the soft ears RSV, it causes pain after like 20 minutes for me. So, and again, maybe that's just me, but that's a nice, I guess, example for Dean where those would be the ones to stay away from, the ones that have the thicker nozzles. And if you go for something that is, I like the Dunu SA6 for comfort. I think it's fantastically comfortable. But that, I mean, depends on the price range. Like the other stuff I find really comfortable is actually the Moondrop dynamic driver ones. Like the KXXS and the illumination and stuff like that. I find those to be pretty comfortable. So I don't know. I hope that helps.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest IEM guy, so I'm not probably the best person to talk on that. But like, if you're wearing over ears, though, I would say this is expensive. But I was just talking about the Aeolus with the suede pads.
Or that'd be pretty comfy.
Because the suede just kind of cushions over it, and then it's. And then
anything
the base
that
is still there, yeah.
Anything that conforms a little bit around the glasses, not to, but also the other thing is like not all headphones depend on a seal. So I mean most closebacks that's a kind of part of it. Yeah. But there are, I'm just thinking like the big issues that I'd be worried about with that stuff is actually with planars. Yeah. I mean, with for different reasons. Like I guess it depends because like with dynamic driver headphones, the bass will kind of drop out if you break the seal on a closeback. But on planars, if you break the seal, depending on where the resonance frequency is, it might actually go up. So you could end up with some weird results there. But maybe some of that's desirable. Maybe you want more bass, in which case a broken seal is not a bad thing on a planar.
And he was saying he likes bass. He's wanting bass. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think the issue would be where the resonance frequency is on, and then you'd want to pay attention to that stuff. Like on the DCA headphones, the resonance frequencies are like it's super high at like 500 hertz, and so you won't actually. It'll still drop out if you break the seal. But on Odyssey and Hi-Fi Man doesn't have closebacks as far as I'm aware. Or no, they do have the one now. Never mind, they do, yeah. But yeah, on the Odysseys, the resonance frequency is a lot lower, closer to like 100 hertz. So you'd actually still get the bass there. I mean, like you'd still lose the sub bass, right? Because it elevates and then drops, right? But probably not as much as dynamic driver stuff. And then I think the other one would be like the Focal Radiance and the like those ones because they're already kind of bassy. Like
I was actually just real quick. To interrupt. I had a thought about this, and I mentioned it in I think in a comment or something. But I was the Radiance to me is a better Elex or like Elir.
Yeah.
The Celeste is a better
Clear.
Elysia or Clear. Yeah, like Celeste is like a kind of like the Clear, this Elysia. Like it's what I wanted the Elysia to be, right?
Right.
And
Exactly.
then
Yeah.
the Radiance is what I wanted the Elex to be.
Okay, I see
And
what you're saying.
then you know what I mean? Like where they had these definitive upgrade paths, I guess, to some level. And then God, what was I saying about there's a third one? Someone was
Well,
asking about
Stellia
a
and
third one.
Utopia is, but
Yeah, probably
they're
Miscellaneous
different.
Utopia, yeah, but that's
Stellia's
different,
basier,
yeah.
yeah.
But they were asking about the Radiance, Celeste, and the Elysia is what they're asking
Yeah.
about, I think. And so my take on it is that the Radiance was basically what I wanted the Elex or Elir to be, and
Hmm.
then the Celeste was everything I wanted the Elysia to be. So like it basically took everything that those things did and then cranked it to 11 and
Yeah.
said this is a much it's not like exponentially better, but it's a better headphone. So
Right.
I don't know.
Well, at least compared to the Alir, I would
Yeah,
agree.
yeah,
Yeah.
yes.
And the
Yeah.
Elegia in both of those, I think that you can see like a direct kind of like, oh yeah, this is an upgrade.
Mhm.
Um, yeah. But I was just thinking, if it's already a bassy headphone, you're kind of like, if you're breaking the seal, you're losing a bit of it, but it's not like you're missing out on like, you know,
Yeah.
it's probably still okay.
Yeah, especially with like a very punchy, like a
Yeah,
locale headphone.
yeah.
It's not going to be.
Yeah, exactly. And my solution is just to get glasses with really thin arms in those situations, because then you're not really, I wear glasses, right? And
I wear glasses usually, but I just don't have.
yeah. But that's the thing, like with in-ear microphones, you can actually test where the bass level. I mean, I'm not suggesting everybody go and get that, but like, because they're not like, well, not super expensive, but they're not cheap either. But like, you'd have to get someone to make them for you. But like, well, I was testing that to see if like if glasses would affect the bass response. It didn't. It wasn't a consistent amount. And with these glasses, it didn't change at all. So with my other ones, it did. The thicker arms, it did. So.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Because I usually have thick glasses.
Yeah,
I wear
yeah.
thick glasses usually.
Yeah. I do too,
but,
for fashion, of course.
Yeah,
We're Pacific Northwest hipsters over here. CW, thank you. I don't see your question.
Oh, he asked about what the best DAC was to pair with a pendant from $1,000 to $2,000.
Where do you see that? I'm blind. Oh no, wait.
The Greg question? Is that
No,
right?
sorry. CW. That we'll get to that one. CW sent us $2, which is very
CW.
kind.
Oh,
I don't see the
yes.
question though.
I think he just sent $2.
Okay, well, thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
If you do want to use a super chat, just make sure you leave the comment or question in there so we can actually read it. That's the purpose of it.
So,
Yeah.
highlight the focus.
But Greg, thank you. What is a really good $1,000 to $2,000 DAC to pair with ZMF pendant for the ZMF Verite Open? Also, what is a really good aftermarket headphone cable for the Focal Stellia? Thanks, guys. I'll start with the DAC question. If you want to go all out, man, the Matrix X Saber Pro is my go-to reference DAC. Well, it's not mine, it's the company's, but do you know what I mean, right? Like that's the one that I would use as a reference point for what a top tier DAC sounds like. But the thing is, you can get lower priced DACs that are very close to that in performance, don't have as many features, and they're not quite there, but they're very, very close, and they're a lot better value. So, and it's because they're also using similar ES based chips like ES9038Q 2M versus the ES9038Q Pro. The difference is not like, I know a lot of it's about implementation as well, but like sonically the difference is a very minor one. But then a lot of people like the Army ADI2 stuff as well because you have your EQ functions. So in many ways, I would probably recommend the Army ADI2 just for the feature set that it has. And it's also not that, it's like around 1,000, I think. So yeah, I would probably say Army ADI2.
Yeah, I was just say Army. I have it there.
Yeah.
That's an interesting Yig. The Yiggy, that's massive. It's a big.
I don't know how.
DAC.
Is that within that price range?
Yeah, I think it's like 1,600.
I don't know enough about that.
That one gets a lot of praise.
Yeah, I've never tried. I haven't
tried
it
either.
Yeah,
outside of like a demo scenario, but
yeah, I do think that just the Army 80i2 would be that's what I would do. Like if especially because of the little filter stuff that you get, like I'm the kind of guy who I like to EQ my Verite. So like, that for me would be awesome. And just to have that functionality there, and it's a good sounding deck anyways, even if you don't do that. So I think you can't lose. And then sorry, I was just gonna say the second part of that question is aftermarket cable for the Focal Stellia. Again, anything that makes it more. Well, anything that makes it more functional, right? Like these cables are kind of like, well, this is the Utopia cable, but like I think the Stellia cable is better than this one, but it's is it the same? Oh yeah,
it's the same. Like
it is. They didn't change it until
for the radiance and the
that's right. Yeah. So in that case, I would just get something that is not as stiff as these ones. You can get something from like I think Periapt makes a bunch of cables, but there's no. One thing I'll say is don't, like, if you're trying to change the sound quality, don't spend money on cables because it won't. But if you're trying to get something that's functionally, like, ergonomically and aesthetically better, well, in that case, probably more ergonomically, then you have so many options out there. Just make sure you get something that's not particularly microphonic.
You don't want it to be like
But like, so I would recommend something from like a well-established cable manufacturer, like not cable manufacturer, but like there's lots of stuff online. Yeah, cable maker, where people are doing this kind of stuff. And I was personally going to get into it, but then it was just like such a hassle to do. But yeah, there are lots of folks out there making cables, especially in the United States, if that's where you're at. But even, I was going to say, Zach, like ZMF make really nice functional cables, and I would recommend that. So
there's you can actually, they have until the cable kits now where you can just, all you have to do is just, everything's all made out for you. You just have to solder it together, and it's
cool. Yeah. So anyways, I recommend ZMF cables because they are functionally very nice.
And they're pretty.
Yeah. But he was asking for the Focal Stellia. Interesting.
Yeah. Specific. So the ones I'm using currently are Periapt.
Periapt, yeah. I mean, that's the thing.
I have a pair that. No, I don't have it. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, the nice thing about Periapt is that they're functional and inexpensive.
This thing annoys the crap out.
Oh yeah, it
catches on it catches on random things sometimes and just like it'll pop the. Yeah. But other than that, it's.
Yeah. CW, thanks again. Is there a way?
Question.
Is there a way to get a live visual of the peaks and valleys in a specific frequency? I'd like to see live visual results of my manual EQing. Yes, there is actually, and this is a function that doesn't get talked about all that much. But when you're doing, this is for people who are actually doing headphone measurements. I don't think for the average people who are like, if you don't have a measurement rig, this doesn't help you. But most of the time when we're publishing measurements, it's just a representation of the data, like a snapshot of frequency response. But the tools that get used, regardless of the like most software will have this function called an FFT, a fast Fourier transform, or I think Rue calls it a real-time analysis or real-time analyzer. And basically, it's exactly that. It'll it's not going to show you. It'll show you the behavior when you hit one particular frequency. It'll show you kind of what's going on in real time. Now, it's not going to show you the frequency response, but I was talking to Jude about this, and on his system, what he's able to do is get using an FFT. As far as I understand it, using an FFT, what he's able to do is show a low res version. Like he just keeps going lower and lower res on an FFT, and he shows a low res version of that, which gives you a real time frequency response. But see again, I think for the rest of us, if we don't have those tools, which are very expensive tools, it's not really going to help you. So unfortunately, I don't think there's a way where you can like personally represent that and then show what your live EQ is doing. But that would be probably the best way to EQ stuff, I think, because it would make it really quick, like really fast. You would just be like, oh yeah, this is how this is affecting it, and yeah. But unfortunately, we do still have to go through the work of actually, making manual adjustments and taking a more heuristic approach, at least for now. Maybe eventually I'll be doing the thing that Jude's doing with the real-time frequency response. The reason why he does it, by the way, is to ensure that he's got symmetry for both sides of the headphone, because you don't want to be in a situation where, especially with these rigs that are like, you put the headphone on and it's got two sides. It's not like the rig that we use, which is the Gross, which is like just one side only. Like the 43AG is just one side only. But there's people who are using rigs and they'll well, we know who they are, but folks who are just putting stuff on rigs, hit and go, and then seeing what shows up, and you have these terrible mismatches, and it's like, it's only because the positioning wasn't it wasn't seated, the same way. It wasn't seated symmetrically. And so, as far as I understand, Jude actually uses that real-time analysis tool, or fast Fourier transform, to show what the frequency response is and get the seating to be symmetrical there. And that way he's able to show symmetry. Sorry, that's a long-winded answer to that question, but the short answer there is no. Like, I don't think you can do that on your end, but other people who have these tools can do that. Yeah.
And then the next question was from J.E. Cans, and he asked, between the Focal Clear and the Odyssey LCD-X, what would our picks be between you and I?
Personally?
Yeah, personally, if you had to choose between a Focal Clear, and I'm assuming the OG, versus an Odyssey LCD-X.
Huh.
I know what my answer would be, because I've already done this.
Yeah, your answer's going to be Focal Clear.
Yeah.
So in my mind, the answer depends on whether or not you EQ. If you EQ, Odyssey LCD-X. If you don't EQ, Focal Clear.
Mm-hmm. That's actually pretty much why I would go with it as well, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, like, the 2021 version of the LCD-X is better for its frequency response than the previous version, a lot better.
Oh,
like, wow. It went from a weird sounding headphone to a mostly decent sounding headphone for tonal balance. But it can still be improved, and I still think the Clear's default tonal balance is better. Like, it's more natural. And with the LCD-X, like, the nice thing about the 2021 versions is that like the adjustments you have to make, like, it's just like 2 filters or 3 filters. It's a very easy adjustment to make there. Whereas on the previous one, it was like, oh my god, I have like 10 filters, and it's a much more, like, I don't know, like it's a more difficult process. Whereas with the new ones, it's like, oh yeah, it's very obvious. You just, like, okay, I add a bass shelf, boost up 4K, and then drop upper treble by a tiny little bit, and then you're done. And even a lot of that's optional, right? Mm-hmm. So I'd say, it depends if you EQ.
And then the next question was, can you drive 2 or even 3 headphones with 1 amp at the same time? Will that damage the component inside the amp? And they're referencing specifically the Topping A90. I've done that with a couple different headphone amps, such as the ZH.
So you mean like with a splitter, or what's the?
No, so for instance, so people can know what they're talking about here. But like, so I have this thing.
Right.
And so he's talking about having multiple headphones plugged in at once.
Okay.
Into all of these. So let's say I have 3 different headphones, one in the balanced, one into the 4.4 balanced, and one into the single-ended, all at the same time.
Okay.
They will all 3 play at the same time. Will that damage the component? I don't think so, but at the same time, I don't think it's also the best way to get because I think it's going to split the power to some level, right? Like, it's.
My answer is, I actually think it depends on the amplifier. I think some amplifiers,
that would be
it depends on what the circuit is for the different outputs that you have, because some of them are, as far as I understand, like for stuff where it might be just like tacked on as a matter of convenience rather than a totally different transformer. Like, I think it really depends on the amplifier. With the A90, if it damages the components on the inside, you'll be doing yourself a favor.
I was gonna say, dang it, you beat me to it.
That's a spicy take. Oh my god. No, I don't know. Like, I think the A90, like, this is just a personal opinion about the A90. I think it's cursed.
I'm not a big fan.
Like, because I mean, even if it still didn't sound limp and mushy, it would still have the ground loop issue with USB. And I know I know that is not a problem if you're running it balanced. I know, but as a matter of convenience, I just think there's all kinds of stuff that you could get that's better than the A90 that doesn't have those ground loop issues, like, or that ground loop issue. So, you know, it's like one particular, like one thing that you could use it for is completely not usable because of the terrible noise floor that you get.
Yeah.
So in my mind, it's, I don't know.
Yeah,
Sorry, that doesn't really answer your question, but like I've not tried that with the A90, so I can't answer that all that well.
Yeah, I know I've tried it with TT2. I've had all the plugs for the TT2, and that didn't sound bad. And I've tried it with the ZH1ES. I've never tried it with the tube amp, so I'm not really inclined to. But,
I would suggest not doing that. In general, I would suggest best practices would be not to do that.
Solo, yeah. I know that for the amp for the Fonder XE, it has the swappable where you could swap between them.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You're supposed to turn the volume down and like
To,
there's
some
stop the music and then
I remember that there was an issue, especially with the older Fonators. They'd kind of blow up if you messed up with that stuff and had the volume still up.
Yeah,
you don't
want to
do that.
Mostly for plugging and unplugging the single.
Oh, was it? Okay,
but like, yeah. But even still, like, why risk it? Like those expensive component.
I never experienced that issue, but like I don't know.
That's one of those things. Not fun.
I wouldn't do it. Like I kind of understand what you're talking about now, because I've been in situations where like I've forgotten to unplug something from an amplifier, and then we're like, oh shit, something else is playing, and thankfully it was in a situation where it was from a totally different transformer, so there wasn't any
factor.
Yeah, but. Yeah, I think probably you shouldn't do that. I think more interestingly than that, or at least more conveniently, would be something that has two of the same outputs. So you can plug two headphones in at the same time and then swap back and forth and test them.
Yeah.
With separate gain, like volume for each output.
Each one?
So you can have them be level matched with, calibrated. And then, so you're not, getting a mismatch in volume, and that's not affecting your perception of it.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
Yeah.
The Pentacon was the next question by Jeff Yerke. He asked, "What's our thoughts on the Pentacon connection?"
I see it a lot more these days.
Yeah, I actually really like it. I think it's nice.
Functionally for the user, the listener. I think it's great because it is less prone to breaking than a 2.5, and it's not as bulky as a 4-pin. XLR, but I think they're also, from what I'm told, they're a pain in the ass to manufacture, to make, at least compared to the other ones.
More complicated.
Yeah, it's a bit more complicated. So that's kind of my take on it. My only real complaint with it, it has to do with the fact that there are now a lot of different balanced outputs, and you see so many different like devices with different types. And then that's just confusing for manufacturers who are producing cables, or their headphones, releasing headphones with certain cables. There's not like a set, like, okay, we're going to give you one single-ended termination and one balanced termination. The single-ended termination is going to be 3.5 or quarter inch, but and it can usually be 3.5, and you just put the adapter on. But with the balanced, it's like you now have three different types, and three different potential source outputs, so it's like I think it's just unnecessarily confusing, and it's and
it can be frustrating too, especially if you're like getting stuff in that's like, so I got the Mest V2s in, and they did two things. One, they used a different cable for the 2-pin, and then so I don't have any aftermarket cables that fit it, and the only the only cable that came with was the 4.4 Pentacon. And so like, I mean,
that's the weird one. If something only comes with the Pentacon, it's like, what?
Yeah, it's like, so then, but luckily I have my DAP I have has a Pentacon for the can, but then I have the Sony, but like everything else I wanted to try it with is now I can't, so it's like,
yeah, fair enough. Yep,
like it's frustrating.
Yeah.
And then Utada Kami-sama asked, would THX amps or a Magni Heresy be good enough to drive a Verite C close to their full potential, or do I need a $2,000 tube amp?
You need a $2,000 tube amp.
$3,000 to be safe.
No, I'll straight up, I am not joking. Like, I think if you want to drive it to their fullest potential, you get yourself a pendant or an amps and sound thing of some kind.
and they are lovely.
the experience is sufficiently different and better that over the THX amps.
Yes. You can get a good tube hybrid that won't be that expensive that would easily can do it. I wouldn't recommend necessarily the THX or Magnes, but excuse me. I would say maybe the Lear 3 would be a good option.
I think for it depends on which THX amp as well. I think because there's different ones that and there's also the Miscellaneous, which and to me it's like it's less a matter of can it drive it to its fullest potential and more a matter of are solid state amps going to be giving you the best possible experience with a Verite closed, and my answer is probably not. But I also don't think that it's worth getting a cheap tube amp for that either. I think you're better off getting a solid. If it's gonna be like on the more budgeted side, then go for solid state, absolutely. But if you're willing to spend, the big bucks, then absolutely the tube amps make a difference. And the pendant or the amps and sound stuff is what I would do for that.
Yeah, I agree. I will say one more thing. After having the Burson in for a little bit,
how much is that? By the way.
That's only like 1,300, I think, or
okay.
for like like 13. It's below
I need
2,000.
to still evaluate that and give it a shot.
You should check it out.
Precog has it right now, I think, right?
Yeah, Precog has it now. It's probably the most tube hybrid sounding solid state amp I've heard.
So
it's nice.
So it's not not trying to be. It's not trying to win any ASR awards. Is that?
No. I would definitely not put it into that.
All right. That's good.
So that's a good option as well for a good solid state that gives you that little bit of warmth that a tube would give you.
Yeah.
And it's the closest I've heard of a solid state that has that nice euphonic kind of.
Yeah. Okay.
Probably using that wrong, but like the.
No, I get
nice
what you're saying.
Tubiness.
Yeah. Well, I mean that's when I was talking last year to Freed Rhyme from Lake People. He was talking about his new amplifier, the Nimbus one, which is a ridiculously expensive one. They're high end, but he was telling me about they were deliberately trying to conserve a little bit of second harmonic to give it a bit of that sort of 2B character, which is interesting because in my mind, when I heard the Kenzie, the OG Kenzie with various different headphones, I was like, there is no way you achieve this with a solid state amplifier, no way. And so what I'm curious about is what that ended up being like for it was Lake People, Vioelectric, and Nimbus. It's all the same group there, and so I'm curious what how that will do if they're trying to do similar things to what has conventionally been thought of as what tube amps do. Now, in the case of the Kenzie, I am not so sure that's actually what's going on because it didn't change anything from a data perspective, no measured difference. So. Who knows what's going on there, but I'm still curious to see what happens there, what they're trying to do.
Yeah, I mean, I love when people kind of break the norm a little bit too.
Yeah,
like, let's experiment. Let's see what else is capable. I think that's cool. I love when companies do that. Yeah, exactly. Another good question from John Lara. He says, I game a lot, not first-person shooters, but games like Bloodborne, Dark Souls, so a lot of kind of orchestral soundtracks and vocals for total immersion. Would you recommend the Headphone Aria or the LCD-X? I probably would think the Aria would be better just because it has a better stage, and it has that separation, which would give you that crazy, I don't know, that 3D-ness, I guess, like that. I don't know.
I mean, yeah, if you're into that great orchestral soundtrack type stuff, I do think Aria probably as well. But the thing is, there's games don't have particularly good audio unless you're talking about the Battlefield stuff or for the most part, game audio is not great.
Not great.
So you're kind of not really you'll hear that it's not great when you have an Aria. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So, but I would also probably say Aria out of those two. But also, I mean, I wouldn't sleep on the something like a Aurorus Audio Borealis or some of that stuff. I think would do fine as well. HD 800S. I mean, I know the price ranges here are all over the place, but
I just got these because I love these for gaming. and movies and stuff. But the HD 700s, you can find a pair of those are fantastic for gaming. Not
But
the
that's
great.
more
They have some
for
wonkiness.
yeah, that's more for like like positional stuff and like
Yeah.
competitive stuff, less for
Even the bass is pretty good though. Like it's,
yeah.
but yeah, I would say it's for me. These were some of my favorite. I need to play them. It's been forever since I've listened to them. I only listened to them for a little bit last night, but I've always loved these for gaming and movies.
Tim Madden, I don't see the question there.
He just did a $5 thing.
All right, thank you, Tim.
Thank you, Tip. Yeah. Axel Aguilar. Whoa, he did.
I just hope that people don't like use the super chat and then we miss their question. If you're using the super chat, put your question in the super chat. Otherwise, we won't see it.
It's tough. There's a lot of questions.
Yeah. Axel, thank you. Is there any mobile DAC amp that works fine with Focalier?
Almost
every
all of
single
them.
one of them. Yeah. Because the Alir's only 80 ohm headphone, and it's you can if you're using something with an amplifier, it'll power it. I don't think there's anything out there that doesn't power an 80 ohm headphone.
Agreed. Yeah. Also, happy Memorial Day to everybody, and up here in the States and whatnot.
Happy Memorial Day, is that?
Yeah, it's not really happy.
It's solemn Memorial Day, or
solemn Memorial Day would probably be the more apt or proper thing. For
reflective Memorial Day.
Reflective Memorial Day. Yeah. But yeah, anyways, I see a lot of people mentioning that, and JTB mentioned it too. But yeah, I served for
Is that wait? What's the difference between Memorial Day and Veterans Day? Is there or
Memorial
just two
Day?
Different?
It's two different things.
Memorial Day is
I'm
Canadian. We don't have those. Okay.
Memorial Day would be similar to what you guys have with the red poppy.
Remembrance Day. Yeah, we have Remembrance Day. Yeah. Okay.
And it'd be the similar to that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Veterans Day is just in it's kind of like to showcase veterans. But yeah.
Okay.
Fun.
Got you. I got you. Cool.
Anyways.
Yeah. Alex. Yeah, I see. Yeah.
Yeah, Alex. There he goes. Yeah.
Thank you. Any thoughts on pad rolling the Celesti with Taconi pads? Is there any benefit to running planars with tubes? So it's two questions. Pad rolling on the Celesti, nope, I wouldn't do it. I tried a lot of different pads on the Celesti, and I found that every single one of them was worse, and that the default Celesti pads were better. That was my conclusion. Including, I tried the Radiance pads, I tried the Stellia pads, I tried everything, and the Celesti pads on the Celesti were the best. Not that much difference between the Celesti pads and Stellia pads.
Yeah, they're pretty
not that much difference. Is there any benefit to running planars with tubes? Totally, there can be, yeah, but not in all cases. There aren't any hard and fast rules for that. But as an example, running the Hi-Fi Man Aria off of the Amps and Sound Kenzie was great. And the nice thing about that is that you could run it off of the high output impedance and you wouldn't get noise floor, if I remember correctly. Because it's like planars are a little bit less sensitive, at least inefficient ones are less sensitive to that kind of stuff, like impedance swings. So yeah, I mean, you can definitely do that. But now saying that, I've also run some planars off of, I ran the Sundara off of some I can't remember what it was. I think it might have even been dependent. But yeah, off of some tube amps, and they didn't it wasn't that it was bad. It just there wasn't as much point to doing it. It was you're not getting the same kind of experience, at least for me.
Have you tried the Rad Zeros yet off the new
no, but
Terran
keeps talking about how awesome it is.
Dude, it is amazing.
I do too.
It is.
Yeah.
That's like peanut butter and jelly right there.
For me though, the Rad Zero, I love Alex Rawson. That what he's doing is amazing. But I've evaluated 4 now. Listened to 4.
And they all sound different.
And they all sound a little different. And I think it's because people have asked him to do different things or something.
And he does. He tunes them different.
Yeah. So I think that's what's going on there. But yeah, so it probably I think I'd have to hear Terran's.
Yeah, Terran's is a good baseline. I've heard that.
But that's the thing is I don't know how much it would be changing if it's a different one from the previous one that I evaluated.
Because the ones I listened to it with were the gold and blue ones.
The gold and blue was pretty good, I thought.
That was my favorite one so far of all.
My favorite was the graffiti for sure. That one.
Graffiti was fantastic.
It was one of the early ones, and it was whoa, this is good. The second one I heard I was not that into it. Yeah.
Same.
Yeah, lots of
And
questions now.
then Utada Kami-sama, he asked thoughts on HD100S versus RAW SR1A for gaming. Both are fantastic. RAWs are ridiculously expensive and require ridiculous different things to
I
make them
would
work
do
for it.
HD100S
But I
for
would, yeah, I'd say
that. It's just
the
I
RAWs were fantastic for gaming, but there's such a 800S. I would
yeah
just go with that.
yeah yeah. Elnerick, what's up, man?
What's up, brother?
You are stranded on a desert island with Bob Stewart, Darko, and I love these.
It's a good one.
You said desert island with Bob Stewart, Darko, and Amir. Which do you eat first and why? Oh man,
I don't know if I'd want to eat any of those guys, man. Like, they're kind of, no offense, but they're kind of getting old. It's kind of like, you don't want to,
So this question I think would be like, who would you want to eliminate from the group first?
Amir.
See, for me, no. For me, the answer would be.
It's getting spicy.
For me, the answer would be Darko. but not because like. By the way, if anybody wants a good laugh, Darko's April Fool's video this year was one of the funniest things I've seen. So like, I do recommend checking that out. He did the whole like, let's talk about how audiophile plants matter,
yep.
and it's not just the type of plant, but also the positioning of the plant. It was so good.
Yeah.
But no, the reason why, okay, we're gonna get spicy here, but the reason why is because, so Bob Stewart is the MQA guy, and so he would be who I would eat second. But the reason why I would leave Amir for last is because I think we could have some good debates, and so it would keep me from boredom or going insane or whatever that the effects of being stranded on a desert island would be. So there's a strategic element to keeping Amir as the last one there.
See, it's funny because I have almost a different. I have a similar but different take. I would get rid of Amir first because he would probably annoy the crap out of me.
Specifically, eat.
Yeah. And then I'd probably keep Darko for last, just because I think he'd be more interested to just chill and hang out on a beach with.
Yeah, but that's the thing for me. Is like he would probably be more. Yeah, but I also like. I feel like I'd have less to talk about with Darko. Less. Like we like I feel like as much as Amir and I will differ as far as approach and methodology, and like I think we'd fundamentally disagree on a lot of things. I think we would have similar, like there'd be a little bit more common ground there. I think. Yeah.
I'm trying. I think that's where I probably more aligned with the Darko probably set out. And it sucks for Bob, but he's kind of like the
Bob's sort of,
third man out.
That's the thing is I don't really have that much that whole MQA thing. Like I gotta say I loved both of Golden's videos. I thought were great.
I agree.
And I do kind of like, if I'm gonna pick a side on that, I do side with Golden. Yep. Not because like I'm saying outright that the MQA proponents are wrong, but more so that Golden's absolutely right that they weren't able to properly give them the possibility of defending them, like defending themselves. Like they didn't engage on the right level to even if they have a perfectly good explanation for that. There's an element of like, okay, let us actually test this stuff, and I think his message there it resonated with me. I should note though, I didn't stop my title subscription. I didn't get rid of my title subscription because of MQA. I got rid of it because of the buffering issues. I've said that many times before, but but the fact that there was this extra little controversy surrounding MQA and stuff like that, it just made it a little bit easier to do. As much as it's annoying to like completely get rid of your library and like your playlist and everything that you've done and start again, and it's a lot of work. I felt a little better about doing it, given that there was all this craziness going on with MQA. But I felt bad about Rune more than anything else, because I would, Rune is amazing, and for running title. I mean, for us in Canada, we don't have Kobas, right? So, I'm waiting for Rune to get, Amazon HD or something else. Maybe Spotify HD or something like that. That would
Apple
be great.
Music.
Yeah, I probably won't use Apple Music. I probably won't because I don't ever want to install another piece of Apple software like iTunes on my system again or whatever Apple Music thing is anymore.
Yeah, I don't
Um,
know. Like I haven't used it either, but
yeah,
yeah.
but it's cool that there's competition. I love that. Like
Hmm.
you know, competition from Apple is good. And actually, I'm more curious about what they're doing with that Dolby stuff with
Oh
certain
yeah.
types of content. That'd be like I don't think it's going to be what I want it to be, but there's the potential there that certain types of content could be fascinating. And just been following what Sean Olive's been kind of reporting on it
Hmm.
on Twitter because I don't get into that stuff that much, but it's very interesting. I think
Hmm.
what they're doing, and it puts
Okay.
pressure on everybody else to innovate, and Amazon to drop their prices. So I'm all for it.
Yeah, that was. I think that was a big like
Yeah,
shot over the brow, like the over the bow, the
right over the
pricing that
right
Apple
in the
came
forehead,
in.
shot over the brow.
Yeah, yeah, brow. Brow.
Yeah,
I'm a seagoing guy too, but
you're a
the
seaman.
pricing. I'm a seaman.
A joke had to be
Um,
made.
I'd admit, oh man, I have a joke about that too. It was hilarious, but I'll tell it later. But
I'm getting some clipping
yeah.
from you. There, turn down. There we go.
Oh, sorry.
You're good. You're good. You're good. I
I
fixed it.
leaned in probably to the mic. I
Yeah, yeah.
suppose. The as I say the pricing is interesting because it's definite. Like them and Amazon both, because Amazon brought the price down for the lossless, and then Apple came in at
Yeah.
the same price, and it's a shot at Spotify for sure.
Oh yeah.
Where they come with the HD when they finally come with
Well,
it. Or
that was the thing. It's like,
lossless.
oh yeah, we're going to be doing this big announcement with lossless and or high Spotify HD or whatever they're calling it, and then Amazon and Apple are like, by the way, we're just rolling that stuff out.
Right.
Yeah.
And then a couple. I think JTB said he gave you $10 for to start your barbecue fund GoFundMe.
It's going
And
to
then
be a
I'm
portable one because I don't actually have a space outside, so I have to take it to the beach. But I don't know enough about barbecues. Like, I want to learn more about that stuff. Like,
It's fantastic, dude. It's
yeah.
just honestly your best bet is just to get if you can get
Thank you, JTB,
just
by the way.
oh yeah it's just we can discuss barbecue another time, but like,
Okay.
it's just fire on
Oh,
me,
I
fire
see
on me.
your images.
Oh man, I love barbecue and it's such a fun thing.
Yeah.
Then Tim Madden says, I bought the full cal Arch and clear MGs. Suggestions for a PC EQ. Well, the Arch, I think.
No,
Already,
no, no, no,
yeah,
no
you don't want to
EQ.
EQ with. Yeah, don't EQ with the
No,
Arch because it's already kind of baked into that one. I
no, no.
think, right?
There's no EQ on the Arch. No, people
None
think that
whatsoever.
there is because they have profiles, but it's not. It just
Ah,
changes it from voltage based to
voltage.
hybrid.
That's
But
right.
yeah,
That's
which
right.
is not
I do remember that
actually.
now.
There's no EQ function there. So, yeah, if you're gonna EQ, use PCUI and equalizer APO on Windows. Otherwise, you can use Rune. Rune's EQ is fantastic.
Hmm.
I think it's worth just sort of like taking some time and learning how to do it. Because there's some pitfalls there with like the gain level and clipping and stuff like that you can run into. But yeah, Rune is the easiest. But then if you don't want to spend the money on that, which is fair enough, Equalizer APO is free and it affects the entire output stack, so that's great. And then yeah, just use PCUI and play around with filters.
Yep, I agree with that. And then
Josh, 10. Thanks.
And then Lucas.
I don't see. Yeah, I keep looking for if they have a question in like the chat, but like maybe they missed it. But yeah,
Yeah, I didn't see Josh another follow up. And then Lucas asked Rad Zero, Empyrean, Diana V2, or Arya. My
What's your
answer would
take
be
there?
Rad Zero. Personally, I like the Rad Zero the most,
Yeah,
but that's multiple reasons.
it's funny because I actually think those four are all on very different levels, very
They're
different
all
levels.
very different headphones. Yeah,
Out
I'd say
of all,
Rad Zero, Arya, Diana, Empyrean for me in a
Yeah.
listing of top to what I would pick.
boy, oh man, if you'd said Diana Phi with the DMS pads, I would have been like that one. But Diana V2, I don't know. Because I haven't had a chance to spend time with it. I heard it at the show and compared it, and it was not on the level of the Phi. So I'll go last place. Last place for me would probably be Diana V2 just because of how not close it was to the Phi when I was hearing them side by side. But again, like it might actually perform better than the Empyrean. Empyrean is second last for me, third place, because in spite of the fact that I don't think it's particularly competitive for its technical performance, at least not for that price, the total balance, I can see why somebody would like it. You know, it's not like it's all just a little relaxed, but all the balance is there except for the treble, and then it's just like, yeah, a bit piercing. But apart from that, like it's a pleasant, you know, total balance, and I don't hate it. With a little EQ, it can be pretty decent there. Then in second place, this gets tough.
It's a tough one. Aria, the Rad Zeros are both fantastic.
I think it would depend on the Rad Zero, because again, that Rad Zero that I heard most recently at the office or the studio, whatever they had decided to do with it was not to my liking. Basically, it was like it was one of those that had no ear gain. And so it just didn't have the clarity there. But then the other ones, like the first one that I heard, the Graffiti, was like amazing. It was like not that far from like the LCD3, LCD4. Like it was really solid.
Very close to that.
Yeah. So I'd say, yeah, depending on the Rad Zero in second place, but also potentially first place, because if you get one that's you know, maybe has a bit more ear gain there, then I don't know enough about his process for that or what. You know, but I think at least from what I remember from the conversation we had with him, there was some aspect of like, you know, people can say, hey, I want this, I want it to have this, you know.
Yeah. So I read a comment, it was hilarious.
Yeah.
I gotta jump in real quick. Someone said, if you want to eat Bob, you have to unfold him first. Sorry, it was too funny to.
Oh God.
That was Stefano. Thank you. That was a good one.
I'm glad people can find humor in this, because I think there's a lot of vitriol that's gonna get, you know. Yeah, there's a lot of shouting online around this subject, and yes. I'm glad that we're able to have a little bit of fun with it. Elmric says, "I knew it. You're a bunch of cannibals. Shame on you." Well, I mean,
with
you
some
asked
fava
us.
beans. Yeah, you did ask.
Yeah. You know, fair enough. If you're stranded on a desert island, probably, you know.
It depends on if there's coconuts or not, right? Like,
and even if there are.
True story.
See, the flip side of that is
long pork.
Which one of the rest of us would each of the other people eat first?
True. That's and then someone actually did ask that. I kind of mentioned it a little bit. I missed the exact thing. I kind of scrolled down too much, but they're like, I think it was Martin actually. I think our buddy from Germany. He was like, you know, who would eat you though? All
right, exactly. Yeah. Pretty sure they would all. No, I don't know. Not even all. Probably Amir and Bob Stewart would gang up on me, and well, I guess it'd be 2 against 2. Even though I'd want to eat Darko first. This is devolved.
Yeah.
Good bar. Thank you for the $5. But I see message retracted.
Message retracted.
I don't. Oh, hey, Golden's in the chat. Yeah. What's up, man? What time is the Utopia draw? We'll go for another, I don't know, 5 minutes, and we'll do the draw. Yeah.
Someone asked the USB-C dongle DAC amp thing. The Apple one's great. There's tons of them on Amazon. I don't know if there's any particular one that you would recommend.
Well, he's a great USB-C to 2.5 millimeter balanced, and I don't I don't know the answer to that.
Hades maybe
one of those. Yeah, I don't get into that stuff at all. Like
I don't
because
either.
For me, like I don't have it here, but every time I take something portably or on the go, I always grab that Radson ES100 because it's or a DAP, but like a Radson ES100 for me, it's like so convenient because it makes it kind of semi-wireless, so I just do that, and rather than because also like I don't like I mean I like that I'd rather have just one device, but I don't like having it like stick into the phone the whole time and have that be like I take my phone out and then have that like pull it away from my headphones.
And you're living the dongle life.
Yeah, I'm not into the dongle life. That one. Sorry about that. I can't answer that question. Rob Hawk, thanks again, Rob. Every time you gotta drop that comment in the super chat for us to be able to see it.
So there's actually millions of headphones, and having just one would be awesome. Which one would it be? So damn hard to and so damn expensive.
If you could
Those
have just
Utopias are
one
exciting.
headphone, is that the
If you could
question?
just have one headphone and be done. I can think of like
Hi-Fi
there's a
Man
couple that would be
Sisvara.
fight.
No, but really, it would be Sisvara or Utopia, like the
Yeah.
depending on dynamic or planar. That's sort of how I would look at it.
Yeah. I
Your
think for
answer's gonna be
me,
Verite.
yeah, it's gonna be Verte closed, I think,
Yeah.
or the Stellias,
Oh,
because to
interesting.
me, if I'm gonna go headphones and I can only have one, I'd want a close back to isolate as much as possible, and I want it to be the best close back possible. And honestly, my two favorite close backs are these two, so
Yeah.
it's one of those. Because then I could just be like, well, then I'll just get a bunch of speakers.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been actually
But
spending some time with the head Type O7s. I got them set up in my living room right now, just testing them out, and they're very interesting. They're powered speakers. Like the bass is ridiculous on them. And I was thinking like, oh, they got tweeters that are based on AMT, like the headphone, right? So I was thinking it'd be more treble focused, and there's a familiarity there, a similarity in the treble presentation, the way that it has that sort of physicality and tactility to it, and textured quality to the treble, but like the bass detail is just nuts on that.
not.
And but I think, I mean, still, I mean, it's not like I say it's the best thing. Like I have to evaluate more and do more comparisons for that stuff to be able to properly see how it kind of fits within the competition. Because like right now, it's like that's the only speakers I have right there, so I can't, I'm not doing the one-to-one comparisons.
And speakers are tough, man, because you have to take into like room
yeah.
factors. A
Oh,
lot of
absolutely,
that too,
yeah.
and like what.
Yeah.
And, so there's so much more to it.
What I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna bring those to the studio where I have I brought the Gross there, and I'm going to use the
Actually,
Gross.
like you
I'm gonna set the Gross up like in the same position that I would normally be sitting in, and then do some measurements of those speakers and see how closely they get to the various different target curves that are out there, like whether it's diffuse field or like the Harman's in-room listening target, or I would honestly almost expect it to get closer to Harman just based on this speaker in particular, because the bass is just like
it's a
oh man,
punchy boy, huh?
is a punchy boy to the point where like it has this sort of like porting stuff on the bottom, and they give you these like little
Foams.
little things to insert into them. You can turn off the and I do that, and even still, it's like, oh god. So
I think you'd probably like you'd probably really like the focals, and then you'd probably really like the kefs.
What I'm interested in is small near field stuff that's also hyper detailed that I can put on my desk. That doesn't have a lot of volume, but like at the same time is meant specifically for, because like those head O7s, they are studio monitors for like in a studio, like in front of you, kind of like this, they're very incisive direct for their directionality and all that stuff. But I want something smaller that's like, for a smaller room than that. But
maybe the Kef LSXs.
Well,
those are definitive, but those are, I'm not sure how good those are.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I was looking at the Focal stuff specifically because I think
Focal
there's
stuff is
some
good.
Focal does have a range that's like specifically for that. That's the right sort of size for an office desk. But yeah. Anyways, that's speakers. We're here for headphones.
Yeah, we're here. In Siga 2.
I want to say, guys, we're going to cut off the super chats now. We'll read through the ones that still exist, but we got to get to the giveaway.
Yeah.
So let's go through the remaining ones.
There's just 3. So Siniga 2 asks, have you ever heard or would you review the ATHW P900? I have no idea what that is.
It's Audio Technica headphone, I think. I would review it, but I have not had the opportunity. But I should maybe ask. I have some connections with the Audio Technica folks, so maybe I can ask them. We'll see if they can send something. Yeah, I'll ask.
Yeah. And then Zeke.
Yeah.
What EQ changes did you settle for with the Stellia to make the signature well balanced from a neutral amp? I don't EQ, so this is on you, my man.
Yeah. I think it's in the article that I wrote on that like a long time ago. But I boost the upper mids and lower treble a little bit. I think it's just in the article there. I need to probably revisit Celia because I think like having the context of all these other closebacks now probably helps, but
I'm holding 3 up like crazy.
Yeah.
I've been just here like.
Yeah, but I do think I dropped the mid bass a bit as well, like around 100 hertz, but all that stuff is optional. Like the lower Below 900 hertz, that's all optional. The only thing that I felt like I needed to do there was to bring up some of the upper mids and lower treble there, but that's basically it. And then Bobject, which is a great name. In your opinions, what is the worst sounding headphone that costs the most amount of money?
I already know the answer to this one. What?
You're gonna say Meze Empyrean, and Elric's gonna fight you.
Yep. Meze Empyrean is my answer to that
No,
one.
it's easy. No, I got you beat, man. It's the Ultrasound Edition 15.
Oh, see, I haven't heard that, but I
Okay,
can
yeah.
imagine.
Now, like again with that one, it's not like if it were priced appropriately, it's not like it sounds terrible. It's not like, you know, Tile did that video where he's like freaking out about how awful the thing sounds. Well, they made something that's a bit of a reaction to that, and it doesn't sound like that one. I think that was like the edition 10 or something, and one of the other ones. So it doesn't sound like that one, but it's like they're selling it at $3,500. It's like, come on, you can't do that. Like that thing doesn't even compete with $300 headphones. So why so that's why that's my answer. And then there's the last one here, guys, is from Tom. Thank you. When is the AB 1266 and Stax SR009S review coming? Are you going to send that Stax up? Do you still have it?
Oh, I don't have it. I gave it back to the gentleman.
Okay.
I can get it for he's happy to send it up if you want.
Yeah, I'd be interested in that. Yeah. But I don't like sending stuff across the border, as we know that sometimes doesn't go well.
Yeah, it'd be a nightmare.
Yeah. Guys, like I see like there's like threads on Headfi and comments on various different Discord communities and forums where people are saying that I'm deliberately avoiding and not reviewing the AB 1266, and I'm, you know, holding out on that for some sinister reason. And the reality is I simply can't get one. It's like I don't have access to an AB 1266. I heard it at CanJam and it sounded ridiculously detailed, and I would love to evaluate it. I just don't have access to one, and I've asked DMS, and you know, but it's not like they can just, you know, give them out to anybody. They're, you know, it's
expensive and
it's ridiculously expensive. You know, like it's so. Anyways, I need like I'm trying to get my hands on one, but it's not like there's any particular reason other than it's not available for me right now.
I would say between the two because I've heard similar things. I've heard both. And I've had the Stacks in for a longer period of time, and I've heard the 1266 a couple times. And to me, it's like it's this: if you want like detail in highs, and you're all about the detail in highs, and don't really want to hear bass that much, go with Stacks. If you want to hear some sub bass and some rumble with some detail still there and a lot of detail, then I'd go with the 1266.
That's a good because I did do that comparison at CanJam because they had the room set up with. It was all the Woo Audio stuff, and then on the Woo Audio stuff they had the AB 1266, and they also had the SR007 and 09, and so I was doing that comparison, and between the two of them, I liked the AB 1266 better. I thought it was more technically impressive overall, and it it felt like it had full range. I mean, the more interesting comparison there in some ways was the SR007 2.9. That was pretty good. Anyways, guys, I see there's a couple more super chats there, but we got to get to the giveaway. Otherwise, we could just keep going all day.
Yeah.
Stormtrooper is saying, you know, I do want to say thank you to Ramirez and Stormtrooper.
Thank you.
Yeah, and the answer to that question is yes, it will affect the sound quality because you will be EQing things. You will be changing the tonal balance, so that will affect the sound quality.
100%.
Yeah. Okay, let's get to the giveaway. And again, I have to give the disclaimer here when we're doing the giveaway that this giveaway is only available to entrants from United States and Canada. And I know a lot of folks did still sign up, even though they're, you know, from different regions. And again, the reason why we had to limit it was not to do with anything we wanted. We weren't deliberately trying to cut people off who were international, viewers of the channel. It's just to do with regional restrictions that exist. So we literally cannot do the giveaway to cannot include other regions at the moment. But we are, at least for certain goods, and we are looking at ways of, making it possible in the future. So for this giveaway, just United States and Canada entrants, and what I'm saying here is that I may have to select more than once if it turns out to be somebody who's not in either of those regions, so that's basically why that's happening. And that's it's stated in the official rules of the giveaway as well. So, but okay, so I'm going to. I hope everybody is signed up because this is now the cutoff point. And we are about to draw the winner. So
here it goes.
Let's see if we can make this happen. I'll have a drum roll, please. And yeah. Let me see if I can actually.
My whole desk is shaking.
Yeah, I need to dip into the software here, guys. Because this is one where we're actually doing it with the actual live draw software. Not live draw software, the actual giveaway software. Yep. Right. And well, the nice thing about it is that it filters out by IP address and by actually it might be MAC address, but it's like it filters out like so you can't have like duplicate entrants and stuff like that. Whereas otherwise, like before, I was doing that like manually just by myself. It's time consuming. So we have a winner here, and the winner is Justin Yang.
Justin Yang.
So we will be in touch, Justin. Congratulations. You've won a Focal Utopia, the world's best dynamic driver headphone, according to Resolve. Because I know there's, maybe it's, other people have different opinions. But in my opinion, the Utopia is the best dynamic driver headphone out there, at least right now. And so, big congrats to Justin.
I think his name is Hoddison. Is that, or is that just a joke?
His name is what?
What's his screen name?
There isn't one.
Okay.
Because with this one, it's the software. It's like it's all just based on like name and region and stuff.
Okay, gotcha.
So if you're in the chat, Justin, congrats. I actually think this person might be from Canada.
Very cool.
So that's just based on the what I'm seeing here for the region. So I don't need to draw again. That's so awesome. that went well.
Yeah, man, that was awesome.
Yeah. All right.
Very
well,
cool.
that's going to conclude the live stream, guys. Thanks to everybody who participated, and I do want to give a heads up. Stay tuned to the giveaways page. If you didn't win this one, of course, which is most people here, apart from Justin, stay tuned to the giveaways page on headphones.com. That's headphones.com/pages/giveaways, because the upcoming giveaway that we're doing in June, this coming month, is the craziest one we've done yet. As it's only going to get crazy. Like the Utopia is like a crazy giveaway, but like the one we're doing in June, I'll announce it this coming week. But you guys will you'll see why I'm hyped for it. So stay tuned to that page. We'll be doing more giveaways. We're aiming for one a month, and we look forward to seeing you in the next live stream we do. Big thanks to Tyler for helping me out with this one.
Yeah. Cheers.
Alrighty, cheers, guys.
Have a good one. Congrats, Justin.
Let us know, Justin, when you get it. Give us some impressions in the forum. Let us know what you think, because that'd be awesome.
That'd be great.
All right, cheers. The next live stream we do. Big thanks to Tyler for helping me out.
Yeah, cheers.
Alrighty.